I live in London, the capital city of England and the United Kingdom. I've lived here all my life. London is a bustling and vibrant metropolis that attracts people from all around the world. Besides being the most visited city in Europe, London also has the busiest city airport system in the world. Millions of tourists flock to London each year to visit its remarkable monuments and museums. London is one of the world's major financial centres and home to a number of prestigious universities and cultural institutions. When you walk through the streets of London, you can feel the energy and excitement in the air. The city is a melting pot of different nationalities, so wherever you go, you'll hear different languages being spoken. Today, London is one of the most culturally and ethnically diverse cities in the world. One of the most iconic symbols of London is the famous Big Ben clock tower, which stands beside the Houses of Parliament and opposite Westminster Abbey. Nearby, you'll find Buckingham Palace, which, of course, has been home to the country's monarchs for almost 200 years. The River Thames flows through the centre of the city, and along its banks you'll find some of the city's best-known landmarks, including Tower Bridge, Shakespeare's Globe, the Tate Modern, and the London Eye. These landmarks provide breathtaking views and are popular tourist attractions. London is renowned for its world-class museums and art galleries. The British Museum houses an exceptional collection of historical artifacts from different civilizations, while the Tate Modern showcases contemporary and modern artworks. Many museums and galleries in London are free to visit. They give visitors the chance to delve into the rich heritage of the city and the world. If you enjoy shopping, London has an array of options to suit every taste. From the luxury boutiques of Bond Street to the colourful markets of Camden Town, there is something for everyone. Oxford Street, one of the busiest shopping streets in the world, offers a wide range of high street brands. When it comes to entertainment, London's West End offers a wonderful theatre scene that's perhaps matched only by New York's Broadway. There's always something to see, from musicals to plays and live comedy. Additionally, the city hosts numerous concerts and festivals throughout the year. London's culinary scene is diverse and exciting. You can find a wide range of international cuisines, from traditional British fish and chips to flavors from India, China, Italy, and elsewhere. The city is also known for its charming pubs, where you can relax with a pint of beer and enjoy the friendly atmosphere. Although Londoners like to criticize the transport in the city, it's recognized internationally as being very good. The tube in particular makes it easy to get around the city quickly and efficiently. London is a wonderful place to live, but it's noisy, frenetic, and very expensive. With its rich blend of history, culture, and entertainment, it never fails to leave an impression on visitors, even if it rains for their whole trip. I live in Oxford, the city of dreaming spires. I moved here quite some time ago, when I was a student, and I still haven't left. It's without doubt one of the most beautiful cities in England, thanks in large part to the architectural splendor of the university colleges scattered across the city. Their presence ensures that wherever you go in Oxford, you feel a sort of scholarly, intellectual atmosphere around you. The heart and soul of Oxford is, of course, the university, which can trace its history all the way back to the 11th century. This makes it the oldest university in the English-speaking world. Some people are surprised when they find out there is no central university building or main campus at Oxford. The university is instead made up of 39 semi-autonomous colleges, most of which include a dining hall, a chapel, a library, common rooms, and accommodation for 200 to 400 students. Magdalen College even has a deer park. The college that attracts most tourists today, though, is probably Christ Church, as its Great Hall was the inspiration for the dining hall at Hogwarts. The contribution of Oxford University to British life can't be overstated. As of today, Oxford can count among its graduates 30 UK Prime Ministers and more than 70 Nobel Prize winners. Despite its importance to the city, however, the university isn't the only thing worth visiting when you come to Oxford. The city also boasts numerous museums, galleries, and theatres, offering a wealth of artistic and historical treasures. The Oxford Playhouse puts on a wide range of theatrical performances throughout the year, while the Ashmolean Museum houses a vast collection of objects and artifacts spanning thousands of years. If I had to pick out a single highlight, it would be the Alfred Jewel, but it's really not easy to choose. Oxford has a lively social scene with a great number of cafes, restaurants, and pubs. The River Thames meanders through the city on its way to London, and many residents and visitors head to the lush green spaces by its banks when they want to relax and enjoy nature. Oxford is a city that's not to be missed. It's well connected to the rest of the country and can easily be visited on a day trip from London. Many of my friends have been out to see me here, and the city has always lived up to their expectations. With its cobblestone lanes and honey-coloured medieval colleges, Oxford pulls you back in time. Wherever you look, buildings rise up majestically against the sky, and wherever you go, you find yourself immersed in culture, art, and history.
As someone fortunate enough to call New York home, I can confidently say that this vibrant and ever-changing metropolis has something for everyone. Living here is an exhilarating experience. The Big Apple is a one-of-a-kind city that has captivated the hearts and minds of millions of its residents and countless people around the world who know it so well from TV and movies. Besides being the largest city in the U.S. and an important center for international diplomacy, the United Nations is headquartered here. New York exerts a considerable influence globally on culture, finance, entertainment, technology, politics, art, fashion, and sport. Some people have even gone so far as to call it the capital city of the world, but maybe that's a slight exaggeration. That said, one thing that can't be denied is that New York is a city of superlatives. It has the world's largest metropolitan economy and stock exchange, and the most expensive real estate. On the cultural side, New York is home to the largest art museum in the Americas and has the greatest linguistic diversity of any city in the world, with somewhere in the region of 800 languages being spoken here. New York comprises 5 distinct boroughs, each with its own character and unique offerings. From the towering skyscrapers of Manhattan to the trendy neighborhoods of Brooklyn, the cultural melting pot of Queens, the green expanses of the Bronx, and the suburban oasis that is Staten Island, the boroughs collectively form the backdrop to life for residents of New York City. For people who don't live here, however, there can be no doubt that one borough alone wears the crown: Manhattan. For all the wonders of Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island, almost all of the city's most iconic sites and renowned landmarks are situated on the island of Manhattan. It's the Manhattan skyline that hangs on the walls of thousands, maybe millions of homes across the world. When most people think of New York, the first things they bring to mind are Central Park, the dazzling billboards of Times Square, Broadway, Wall Street, the Empire State Building, the flagship stores of Fifth Avenue, the Statue of Liberty, and Brooklyn Bridge. Of course, these last two aren't strictly speaking on the island of Manhattan itself, at least not fully, but they're a part of it in the collective imagination at the very least. The point is, for most people who haven't visited the city yet, Manhattan simply is New York. It's different when you're a local, though. When it comes to living in New York, I'm not sure that Manhattan would even be my first choice. For one thing, it's prohibitively expensive for most of us. But besides that, there are other boroughs with flourishing cultural scenes and a more enjoyable pace of life. I don't think I'll ever get tired of wandering the streets of Manhattan when I catch the subway over on the weekend. But for now, at least, I'm more than happy living and working in Brooklyn, which is also a fascinating place to visit if you have time during your trip to NYC. San Francisco, the city by the bay, is a spectacular blend of iconic landmarks, rolling hills, and vibrant neighborhoods. It's a far smaller city than New York or Los Angeles, but what it lacks in size, it more than makes up for in charm and character. San Francisco is a city where history and tradition jostle with innovation and cutting-edge technology. Founded in 1776, it witnessed the California Gold Rush and expanded rapidly as a result, endured the devastating earthquake and fire of 1906, and was the birthplace of hippie counterculture in the 1960s. The city has been a haven for free thinkers, artists, and intellectuals ever since. In recent years, it has also become a leading tourist destination and one of the most important global hubs for software development. The tech giants Google, Apple, and Facebook have their headquarters just a short drive away, so an entrepreneurial spirit is almost palpable in the air, and there's a thriving startup culture. Downtown San Francisco is surprisingly compact, so you can generally get around easily on foot. However, even if you love walking, no tour of the city would be complete without taking a ride on the legendary San Francisco cable cars. They're even listed on the National Register of Historic Places. A ride on the cable car is the perfect way to admire the city's eclectic architectural styles, which range from Victorian-era houses to modern skyscrapers. While some commuters do still make use of the cable car system, today the vast majority of passengers who use it are tourists. A short distance from downtown lies Fisherman's Wharf, a much-loved waterfront district renowned for its seafood, street performers, and lively atmosphere. Tourists and locals alike come here to enjoy fresh clam chowder served in sourdough bread bowls while taking in the views of the bay and the sea lions soaking in the sun on the docks. Out in the bay, you'll catch sight of another of the city's most popular attractions, Alcatraz Island, the site of a former maximum security prison that once housed the most notorious inmates in the country. The prison was closed in 1963 and reopened to the public as a museum about a decade later. The northern tip of the San Francisco Peninsula is another magnet for tourists. Why? It's where you'll find what one travel guide has described as possibly the most beautiful, certainly the most photographed bridge in the world. The Golden Gate Bridge stretches majestically across the entrance to the bay. No less a work of art than an engineering marvel, it is to San Francisco what the Statue of Liberty is to New York. I've only scratched the surface of what there is to see and do in San Francisco. From Chinatown to the Mission District and the famously crooked Lombard Street with its 8 hairpin bends, the city is brimming with unique and unforgettable sights. Countless artistic and cultural events take place throughout the year, and there are all sorts of culinary delights to discover and savor too. Everyone should visit San Francisco at least once in their lives. And if you can, why not make your visit part of a longer road trip exploring the breathtaking Pacific coastline?
I live in Edinburgh, the only place in the British Isles where you can see a royal residence, medieval castle, and 3 extinct volcanoes. It's been called the Athens of the North. Not only does the city have its own Parthenon on Calton Hill, it's actually called the National Monument. It also shares with its Greek counterpart a great legacy of cultural and scientific accomplishments. Edinburgh has served as the capital of Scotland since the 15th century. It has 2 distinct areas, the medieval Old Town, which is dominated by the castle, and the New Town, which dates back to the late 18th century and still retains much of its original neoclassical and Georgian architecture. In 1995, UNESCO recognized both the old and new towns of Edinburgh as World Heritage Sites. While shoppers typically make a beeline for the new town, tourists are usually more intrigued by the sights of the old town, at the heart of which is the Royal Mile. This historic street stretches from the castle down to Holyrood Palace, the official residence of the British monarch in Scotland. Exploring the popular sites along the Royal Mile is one of the highlights of any trip to Edinburgh. However, if you're prepared to venture a little off the beaten track too, there are some real hidden treasures to discover. One such place is the Writers' Museum. Literature has flourished in the city for centuries, and the museum pays tribute to the great writers who have found inspiration here. It's worth mentioning that in 2004, Edinburgh became the first city to be designated a UNESCO City of Literature. Natives of the city include Robert Louis Stevenson, writer of Treasure Island and Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Sir Walter Scott, who is widely credited with having pioneered the historical novel genre, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes. More recently, it was in Edinburgh that J.K. Rowling did much of her writing for the Harry Potter books, likely drawing inspiration for her magical world from the old town's winding streets and the breathtaking sight of Edinburgh Castle atop Castle Rock. It seems she was no stranger to Greyfriars Graveyard either. One particular gravestone there is inscribed with the name Thomas Riddle. Is this where Harry Potter's great antagonist acquired his true name? Edinburgh is the second most visited city in the UK, Tourists arrive in their droves throughout the year, but they come to see more than monuments. Edinburgh is the UK's preeminent city for festivals. In the summer, there's the world-famous Edinburgh Festival Fringe, the largest performing arts festival in the world. Only the Olympics and the World Cup surpass it for ticket sales. The Fringe transforms the entire city into a stage. Anyone can take part with any type of performance. While comedy shows make up around a third of the performance program, there is also music, dance, opera, and theatre to enjoy. In the winter, Edinburgh sees the old year out and welcomes the new year in with the annual Hogmanay celebrations. Hogmanay is the Scots word for New Year's Eve. It's celebrated in Edinburgh with a huge street party centred on Princes Street. Over 4 or 5 days of festivities, there are concerts, processions, fireworks displays, and, as you can imagine, a great deal of eating and drinking. Hogmanay is a magical time to be in the city. But that said, there really isn't a bad time to visit Edinburgh. If you can't make it for the big festivals, don't let that deter you from visiting. Come in spring or autumn, and you'll still have a wonderful experience.